All
Good
right.
evening, gentlemen.
How's it going?
Good evening.
I'm arranging my camera here so I can actually put my face in it. Well, so to start
Yeah.
off, let's go around the board and everyone introduce themselves.
All right, I'll go ahead. My name is Michael Amland. I also go by Juno. I host a podcast called Pedestrian At Podcast. I've had SANe on the show before. It's my first time podcasting with Ian from Whiskey. Just super stoked to be here, man.
Sweet. Ian,
Yeah.
you're up next.
All right. So my name's Ian McGlynn. I am the host of the Whiskey podcast. I'm just kind of getting into this whole like networking thing and meeting all kinds of crazy, awesome folks. So it's my first time hanging out with both of y'all this evening, and I'm very happy to be here.
I'm glad to have you both. This journey in podcasting has been something else. Like you said, I've met so many people, so many interesting stories, and it's amazing that this even exists. Okay, right off the bat, are any of you introverts by any chance, or
Oh,
probably
super. Yeah.
ambiverts?
I'm
And that's what's
definitely an
crazy to me.
introvert.
I think that's crazy to
Yeah.
me because there's a lot of introverts in this I don't know if you call it a field, but it's crazy to me that introverts are being drawn to this. I don't understand why.
It's a
Well,
great
introverts
tool.
like small groups.
Yeah.
Mm,
Like I think they like smaller groups, and I think something like this kind of makes them feel like they're in a smaller group, so they can kind of get more comfortable and kind of speak more openly instead of kind of be intimidated by like really loud personalities. I'm that way.
oh,
So
well, I'm so
people are
sorry
like, man,
because
you're fine.
I'm a
No,
loud
I'm
I'm a loud personality.
right. Oh, you're cool, man. I like hanging out with you. But other people are not as warm or fun.
Yeah. I'm trying. So
So
normally my camera is situated to a point where it's not moving, and right now it's doing a slow fall. I mean, it might look cool, but it's
right.
not cool because I got to keep pushing it. But so just bear with me as I continue to try to fix said camera. Um, I
Okay.
guess what I'll start with Ian. What brought you to podcasting?
I love telling stories, and I started made a decision to finally decide what I wanted to be when I grew up, and this was a great way to kind of build what's the word I want, a portfolio, I guess, for my ability to share information and talk about history and whiskey and all those things, and in hopes that I'll have something to share with folks down the road.
So wait, is that what you want to? What do you want to be when you grow up? Then a historian?
Yes.
Okay.
Hopefully a corporate historian for one of the big distilleries. Here in the States would be the ultimate goal. But
That's actually really cool. So that's actually what brought me. So your name, whiskey, me being I'm not going to call myself a whiskey holic, but I was like, oh, this is a cool show. So I checked it out. There you go. I checked it out because I was like, hey, man, I like whiskey. Let me check out a podcast about whiskey. And I think what you do is brilliant. I I'm not having whiskey right now because I think I have other stuff to do tonight. But point being, um, I'm glad to have you. I think I've already said that. I think I'm in that rambling part, but it's all good. I can easily segue back into the smoothness of it. Um, Juno, I know we've talked about this before, but just refresh me. What brought you into podcasting?
My bandmate that I play with, Matt Blankenship, and I have played music together for a long time, and we always talked about starting a podcast. We joked about it. Finally, I said, "Look, I'm going to figure out a way for us to do this." Um, I had listened to some other shows, and they mentioned Anchor, and literally our first episode, you can listen to us. We're like, "Oh my god, we could actually do this! Like, wow, this is so much fun." You're literally hearing us like trying out for the first time, and we called it episode 0 for our show because it's we're both like joking like, wow, we can have like guests. And we didn't really have any like big agenda. We just wanted to do it for fun.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just our like phone call of the week. We just kind of hang out and talk about what's going on. So I'm surprised people enjoy listening to us talk. Honestly.
Yeah.
We just have fun.
And
I'm not
I
drinking whiskey
sound very
today. I'm
Disney
drinking
about it.
Lionel Lugan.
What's a Lionel
Right.
Lugan?
It's like a not like a craft beer, but it's like a little porter type thing. So I'm trying not to drink during the week. That's like my goal. But I was like, man, I gotta chill out for this. So
I
Yeah.
feel like you need new goals.
yeah, yeah. Well,
But I'm
I did a
biased,
dry
so.
January, man. That was tough, and I didn't even
Ugh.
get through the whole month. So yeah,
I thought about it. I did honestly think about
Yeah.
it for about 17 seconds, and then I said,
yeah.
What's your favorite thing of whiskey?
"Oh man, that's a loaded question." I don't think I have one like above and beyond everything else. I have seasonal favorites and situational favorites.
Okay.
I really I don't know. It's really hard. If I had to pick a favorite Scotch, it's going to be the Glenmorangie Nectar Dior. Irish would be probably the Powers 3 Swallow, and then if we're going
You're speaking
bourbons,
another language.
yeah. Sorry. I started with Jim Beam, so Jim Beam is still that's my soul food, right? My comfort food. So whenever I need to run home to Mama, I'll grab a bottle of Jim Beam and just sip slow.
So,
What are you sipping on tonight?
yeah.
So tonight, because I'm in Texas currently, I am sipping
Woo-woo!
the Balcones Texas Rye. It's their
Very
100
nice.
proof. Yeah, it's all right.
So I am a Jack man, and I say that because what I want to hear is, you know how when you go through life, you're doing something, and then you go to, I don't know, you had regular vitamins, you're taking one of these, and next thing you do is you go to the GMC store and they tell you, stop doing that. That's the trash vitamin. This is the part where I would like for you to tell me, stop drinking Jack. That's the trash version of Jack. Please tell me what the upgraded version of Jack is.
So if you like Jack, and here's the deal with when it comes to whiskey, however you like it, whatever you like is good. So the purists and the whiskey snobs, don't listen to them. They're just grumpy old guys. So however you like it, drink of that. So, but if you want to kind of expand on Jack Daniels, I would say for the next step, move to their single barrel select. So it's still Jack Daniels. Their single, it's a little bit higher in proof. It is a single barrel, but it offers a lot more robust flavors than just the regular, black label off the shelf Jack Daniels that you'll get. So I would take that step. It is a little bit more expensive, but it is good whiskey, and I'm not a big fan of Jack, but I maintain a bottle of the single barrel on my bar at all times.
Oh, you have a bar as well?
It's my home bar.
Oh, okay. I was like, okay, look at you. Juno, do you drink whiskey at all?
Yeah, I definitely drink whiskey. I've got some Bullet. I've been drinking, before the month, and I'm definitely not as extensive an expert as Ian on the subject, but yeah, I enjoy good whiskey. I haven't been drinking Jack as much lately. I forget what we had, a really nice whiskey that Matt like just drank all of during my wedding. That was like my wedding gift. I woke up, I was like, oh great, well, all right. But yeah, I enjoy good whiskey, and definitely just something to sip on and chill out and enjoy.
So, it just popped up in my mind, and I wonder about it. Have you and Matt gotten back to jamming out lately? I want to.
Yeah, we have been. Yeah, we have been. He got a banjo for Christmas, so I play mandolin. So we've been doing kind of more, I guess, bluegrass folk kind of stuff. Um, and then getting back to like our kind of like rock stuff. So we're slowly but surely getting back into it. His work schedule is crazy. My work schedule has been kind of crazy, but we definitely want to put out some music this year. It's a big goal for us. So
Sweet. So if you haven't noticed what I am currently doing, I did not write a topic. I am just hanging out with you gentlemen. And now this is my attempt to blend both worlds together. We have a man of music,
Nice.
we have a man of whiskey.
Nice.
And now the ultimate question is, what is the music you go to when you're drinking?
That's a great one. I have two go-tos. I am the son of two theater majors, so I grew up in the theater, and musicals are a thing for us and my family. So I'll put on the soundtrack of a musical, or I'll grab. I love jazz and like the big band era music. So Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby, Louis Armstrong, all those. I'll just kind of a mix, right?
You got your grown man flow.
Yeah. Just like our lives are crazy, so just being able to kind of put on something slow and easy, and sip. That's my whiskey music.
I like that. I like that a lot. It's your turn, sir.
Oh man, it varies. I mean, it really, some nights we're all about some Kanye West. Other nights it's more Mumford and Sons. Other nights it's more Queen. I'm also a big jazz fan. So it really varies. It's all over the place. I can't say there's one particular. If I'm drinking whiskey, this is what I'm putting on. Rigidly, but I know I like all kinds of music. I can sit here and talk music all day.
It's actually that's pretty much where it is for me, because one of the things that I notice when I am under any level of buzz, it's like the music decides to hit a little bit harder and you get to feel it a lot more. I don't know what it is about that, but it just seems to open you up a little bit more. And like just things that, what is that? I didn't enjoy country a lot. Oh, there used to be a Brahms I would drive to on it's an old country road out here in Texas, and I would drive out there and eat. And when you go to that Brahms, they only play country music. So I learned how to pick it up then, but I went to a bar that played country music, and it's just it just hits differently. There was a song called "A Tear in My Beer," and I like understood it more when I had a beer.
I think seeing certain styles that you might not be into, when you see them live, just it gives you a different appreciation for it. I remember when I was a kid learning about jazz, it didn't really connect with me as much until I saw my instructors actually play. And it totally just blew my mind. I was like, wow, like they internalize all of this crazy musical vocabulary, and they're just out there just expressing themselves in this amazing way. So yeah, I mean, when my old band Still Pink toured down to Austin, Texas, we got to see some real country, and that definitely opened my eyes to that. I was like, damn, this is some real shit, So
I am not a fan of country music in any way, shape, or form ever.
Oh man,
unless let me caveat. It's got to be live, and it's got to be in a bar setting. Like I will never go to a country music concert. But man, I'll go sit at a bar and listen to some dudes play some. And I'm a big fan of the older country stuff. So, like the super sappy, kind of. I don't know. That's just me, but I'm old, so I guess that kind of fits.
No, I mean I totally get it, and I've played with a lot of bands that are like that outlaw country, which are they try to kind of be the return to that more like Johnny Cash and Waylon Jennings type thing.
It's crazy that I noticed. There, what is it? It used to be that way for techno. Back before techno became more electronic based and fusing with everything. I'm talking about the hardcore. We're gonna play the same note for about an hour straight. That techno, and I just couldn't do that. I never understood it. Who wants to go to a place and hear pew 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 I just couldn't understand why that was a thing. Not
You're
to
on the right
mention
drugs. I mean,
I'll give you that.
you know.
So
Then it comes more about feeling than it does about hearing, because you're
Right.
yeah, it's yeah, I got you.
um, so in your podcast history, for me, I've only been doing this thing for about I think maybe 6 to 7 months. What is the greatest moment for you so far?
I'll let
Uh,
Ian take that first. I don't.
Greatest moment.
Oh, Shataki. I'm still here. I almost knocked over my stand.
My greatest moment so far. So I got to sit down recently with a couple who has recently left their faith belief system that they were born into, and generational
Mm,
family stuff. And I didn't know it at the time, but that was the very first time that they were ever sharing their story. I met them at a wedding. They're awesome folks, and they had a great story, and I didn't know that was the moment. My show was the show that they were literally putting everything out there for their
mm,
family and their friends and all these people to kind of hear uh, why they left and kind of open up about that. And it was in the moment I didn't even know. And so afterwards, I got a call. I was talking with the husband, and he was asking a lot of weird questions, and I was like, "Hey, man, you seem kind of nervous." And he's like, "Yeah, it's really
mhm.
the first time we've shared this with anybody." And I'm like, "Oh shit, that's you." I wish I would have known going into that. I probably would have been a little more gentle because I was a little abrasive on some of the questions. But yeah, no,
That was your
that's been
Mormon
my
episode, correct?
yes, yeah, it was.
Yeah, yeah, that was really good. That was really good.
If I'm
I
not
had kind
mistaken.
of a similar.
Oh,
Oh, I'm
sorry.
sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
no, go ahead. Go. No, no, no. I talk all the time. That's why I have to tell people when I start talking. I talk all the time. You guys go.
For me, I mean, kind of my personal one of my favorite moments from the show is the first time I did an interview. It was kind of a similar thing. Like I interviewed somebody I met on Twitter who goes by Rydia, which is a Final Fantasy character. We did a show talking about like her experience with Final Fantasy. And it was the same thing. I'd never talked to this person outside of silly comments and stuff like that, and we had never spoken on the phone or anything like that. And all of a sudden she gets into the story. She's talking about, look, I got into this stuff because my sister was into this, and like she died, and it was a much deeper connection than I expected her to kind of put out there.
Yeah,
So, and that was my first time really interviewing somebody on my podcast, which I'd love to do more of. It's just hard to get schedules to work a lot of the time.
yeah, yeah. That's
You
always
know,
the game when we play with this. Actually, the closest thing that I've had, um, I guess deep enough would be one of my good friends. There was a week I was just busy, and I had a cast after cast, and then I would try to make music, and just I was just busy. And he kept calling me trying to do a show, and it was a weird night. I finally got a hold of him, and he had said, "Oh, I'm so glad I didn't get to talk to you because he was basically planning on I don't know if I don't think he minds me sharing this. He was planning on basically committing suicide, and if he was going to have a big open podcast that day, and then afterwards, and I was like, I'm glad I did ignore your calls, but it's just you never know what you're about to get into with this. And we're meeting so many different people. It's crazy the worlds that you jump into. Like I'm still surprised I haven't just ran into one of the randos like just one of the random ones that I've gotten. It's just some crazy stuff going. I don't know. I don't wish for anything that crazy, but when you're having interviews with people that you don't see on Reddit, you never know what you're about to run into. So it's just, yeah, it's a world.
I've been amazed by I've had a very different types of guests. I have had guests that because I always like reach out ahead of time and we talk about the topic, and I always share all of my research material so they can go as deep or as shallow as they want. And I've had guests that have grabbed all that information and gone even further. And then I've had guests that have not even looked at a damn thing. And it's really interesting to see how the different people react. You have the guests that just kind of blindly agree and use like vanilla words, and it's hard because you're kind of like dragging them along the process. And then you've got these other guests who literally have 7 hours of content in their own notes that they built off of your stuff. So it's learning how to pull somebody along, but also kind of draw somebody down. And it's
Yeah.
been super interesting because you never really know what you're going to get and the type of guest that's going to show up on your show and how well prepared or ill prepared they're going to be.
So do you prepare notes for every cast?
I try to, yes. For me, it's better. My flow is better. My presentation, I say a lot less when I have direction. You know what I mean? Which helps me out on editing. It's a lot less of those that I have to clip out over,
Yeah.
the course of time.
So there's a I call Rogan Daddy podcast basically since he and there's this famous episode where he tells someone to stop saying like, and just that taught me to train myself. It just I don't want to say those words. I have to. That's why I listen to my cast after I'm done, so I can get on my ass and like, okay, I don't want to say that. One of the things that I notice is when I feel a little insecure when I'm talking to someone, I will actually LOL in real life. I'll start talking and I'll say, hey, so the world's this and it's great. To start them off, to let them know that I finished talking. And I hated that. I hated that. That's one of the reasons I really enjoy checking but that's the reason I like listening to my podcast when I'm done. It's one way to grow and get better at it.
Do you write critiques of yourself? So I use my editing time as that. I've got a show journal, where and as I'm editing that episode, I'll write, you stupid ass, you said this wrong, or you die. I'm really mean to myself in my journal, but I'll have the big takeaways. I'll have like 3 big takeaways that I try to improve on for next time. And I got a big whiteboard. I'll put those on a whiteboard. So as I'm recording, it's in front of me and it says, don't say stop saying those kinds of things, just so I can look up and have a quick reminder.
I do write them down. So I always bring my journal with me because prior to a show, especially if there's something that I know I'm going into deep detail, I do research as well. I like to jot down I'm a big impromptu guy. I had a speech class, and one of the biggest things that I would do, the lady would always tell us, you need to write a whole speech out. I never did that. What I did, I was just write the points that I want to go off of, and then just let myself go into it. And that's kind of how I do it now. I'll have my points, and I'll have my pad there so I can jot down any notes. And the big thing is, because my mind was always just, so I'll jot down something that I might want to say in case I want to say it or just to like let it go. Because when you said musicals earlier, I wanted to ask you about Les Mis, and I was like, it's not time for that. So, you just let it go. It's a good way to keep your journal. It's a way to get that thought out of your head and keep it moving.
Absolutely.
Yeah, trying to get rid of the upspeak is a big part of it. I used to listen to my shows a lot more early on. I've been getting back into it because we were supposed to only stick to 30 minutes. That was supposed to be like, okay, 30 minutes, we're done. That's it. But we started to kind of slide into like 45 minutes, 54 minutes, and they just kept kind of escalating. And now we're both a lot better. I always make notes, or not, like you said, talking points each week to kind of have, okay, I do want to touch on this. I do want to touch on this. This is how I felt about this. My co-host, I doubt he makes any notes. So I kind of have to be the one to rein us in a little bit. You can usually kind of hear that back and forth in our dialogue, which I love Matt. That's just how he is. He's not going to come too prepared. Right. And you never really know what he's going to do. So it's a give and take. We both that's how we've always played music together too. He's
Yeah.
a tough guy to peg, but when it works great.
How do you guys decide what episodes you're going to go about?
So
Oh,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
no.
I'll choose
Go ahead,
Ian.
Oh,
Ah!
damn it. Okay, I'll go. So I'll sit down and do. I'll plan out 6 weeks. I've been fortunate enough to be going through finishing up my degree as I'm doing this podcasting as well. So a lot of topics that I'm actually in class learning become topics for the show, and then there's some other stuff that just personal interest stuff, and sometimes I just happen to run across a person and they share something. The Berlin Wall show I did, I actually got into an argument on Facebook with the lady about some other stuff, and one of the counterpoints she brought up was something about German history, and she started this schooling the shit out of me, and I'm like, hey, okay, yeah, I'm a jerk. Do you want to be on the show? And let's share. I need more. I need this information. You have a wealth of knowledge, and I want to share that knowledge. So, but yeah, it's I like to pick and then plan out about 6 weeks or so.
That's cool.
Yeah, I don't think I could plan out that far for us. Like, we just don't have it. We're kind of like probably 2 weeks.
Let me be real honest. I do my show's is a bi-weekly, so it's only 3 shows. Like it's really.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have my hand in so many things. The best way for me to do my shows is, I run off random thought bubbles. The other week I was, going through all the stuff that I do for different shows. I'm going, hey, I'm an executive producer. I'm this, I'm that, I'm that. Well, I want to talk to somebody else. Well, as you see, I'm claiming that I'm an executive producer. I'm trying to do that. Go ahead and start doing that. But I want to learn more about each detailed role. So I reached out. I want to talk to someone that could basically explain that. So I kind of go with if it's something I want to learn, that's how I keep going. Because I was talking to someone about their cast one time, or it was in a chat we had, and a guy was talking about, just going in numbers for a show or for views for a show. And I always like to look at it as it's this amazing adventurous journey for me. It's this, I want to learn something new. You never know what you're going to learn from somebody. And I always joke about it. When I turn 70, I want to listen to these things because it's just like I'm building my content for when I have to take Jell-O and pills.
Yeah, I think with us, like our lives are pretty serious. Like the stuff that we do, we keep it pretty light on the show because that is kind of our hangout time.
Yeah.
We would love to do more serious topics and really explore a lot of things, but there's also kind of that part of us that is there to speak freely because it breaks it up from he has a pretty rough job, and my job can be tough too. So
yeah,
I totally appreciate everybody that goes deep on their podcast, that really gets into their topics. That's something that I envy, but we're the opposite of that. We cover a different sort of, on the spectrum, we're on that lighter spectrum, which is okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
We like it.
It's fantastic. So one thing I really, life has been heavy for the better part of a year now.
Yeah.
So for me, I and specifically Juno, with your show, it gives me the chance to sit at a table, not feel obligated to talk, and just listen to people chat. And that's one of the things I love about airports. I don't know, it's mildly espionage, I guess, but you just get to hear little snippets of people's lives as they're sitting near you and they're talking, and it's just this wonderful escape. And that's one of the things I've absolutely loved about your show is the ability to just kind of feel like I'm sitting at a table, but I don't have to participate. I'm just there to enjoy somebody else's life and experiences, and that's awesome. I absolutely love that.
So I don't know if
Thank
either
you.
of you
Yeah,
game. Oh, I was gonna say I don't know if either of you game,
I
but
do.
Sundays is when I like to reach out and just I always post about like a lot of my friends do music, so I'll tell them to send me anything new. Um, Podcast, same thing. And what I like to do on Sundays is I like to sit back, play. Well, it's one step to Eden, and I don't know. It's something about being able to just sit back, play a video game, and just let stuff play in the background. It's satisfying. It's satisfying. I like my Sundays that way. It's like I can just keep it easy. I can do some editing. I can listen to friends stuff and just chill. It's a really good way to chill.
That's
Absolutely.
That's my take on it.
awesome.
So I gotta tell you, just saying that you have helped me modify my Twitter behavior. So I'm gonna stop adding people so much and just sharing episodes.
Good.
Yeah, I heard your part about the follow Fridays. I was like, well, shit. All right, let me try a different approach.
Actually, so June. I want to call you Michael so bad. Juno is
No,
like
Juno's fine.
So now that you're here, because you just reminded me, I get to say it in actual virtual person. You have a heart of gold. Your support is just beautiful. Dude, just you and Dana, like both of you guys are just very heavy with the support. When you post that, I always go like, man, I don't want to do that. Like I'm always busy, so I see it and I go like, man, no, don't do that. Don't post me. You should post yourself. But it's just that's the beautiful part about it, man. I love that support. Just it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. My only problem with it comes when you know something's kind of more of a bot. And someone followed me one time, and I knew it was something about I think it was like X-rated poetry podcast. I don't know. It was something
Right.
I just said I'm not really into that. So why am I going to just follow something that I don't want to? It's just I want to keep the genuine human. I don't want to just go around liking things I don't like. It's just I don't know. It provides a more genuine experience for me. That's why I had to post that because one of my friends I was talking to her about it, and yeah, it's just I don't know something important to me about holding some genuine You know what I'm trying to say.
I totally agree, and it's cliche to say, but there is a human being on the other side of the screen. I don't want to make them feel like it's just an algorithm being like, you like such and such and such, so I'm going to send you this. And
Yeah.
that list I post, I genuinely like these shows. I listen to all these shows. To me, it's a good variety of shows. So if you're genuinely looking for podcast recommendations, this is a great list to start from. And these are shows that most certainly you would never find anywhere else. I didn't find them until I started getting into this.
There's a lot of great stuff on there. I don't know if you guys have listened to is it Taboos?
Yeah,
Taboos.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Celeste and Allie.
I love
those
that
girls
dynamic.
Yeah,
They get into it.
they're great.
It's a lot of and that's so that's the other beautiful part about all of this. This is basically you're not going to get this experience anywhere else. And I always joke about it. This is so back when bootleg DVDs were a heavy thing out and about, and you would have those movies where you hear something crazy, like you're watching a movie now, a baby's crying to the next to you, or you're watching someone walk past the screen. Those are, as bad as they want to talk about those films, those are art forms you're not going to get anywhere else. It's like the old cassettes when you're recording them, and that's what this is. I love it. I love it. This is great stuff.
If there's any like theme to what I do, I just try to hopefully express to people that they can think for themselves and free thought. I mean, that's what this is about. It's about expressing yourself and I guess the purest sense. You're not even using an instrument or anything. It's literally just putting it out there.
Yeah.
So that's cool to me. and you guys are
The
awesome. So,
conversation, the conversations are wonderful. I was again, I like listening to how people interact and their mannerisms and their, because you can pick up, uh, certain like language styles and all that, and how unique everybody is uh, in under one umbrella. So here's this podcast umbrella, and then you have all of uh, every type of personality or person you could think of exists underneath this umbrella, and you go around and you listen, and uh, everybody adds some uniqueness to it. And I do listen to some like professional podcasts, if that's a thing, right? I'm not a
Yeah.
Joe Rogan guy, but
totally.
I've
Yeah.
got a lot of history podcasts that are professionally produced and all that stuff, and they're
Yeah.
great for information, but for just true entertainment and enjoyment, I go to my friends, to my indie folks, and the folks who are just you and me doing this shit in our bathrooms or in a weird room with blankets everywhere,
And that's the other
Uh,
thing. Like, that's another reason why my show is so free form, because the people I listen to that are like professional are pretty serious shows. I mean, I like Sam Harris is a big
Yeah.
one. The Psychology Podcast is one I pay attention to, and they're pretty heavy topics. So for me personally, I don't have a PhD, so it's again just a way to kind of just chill out. And
Yeah.
talk about a comic book movie.
And that's how
So
I got my idea for wanting to do this because like Joe Rogan was the guy that basically brought me into this, and the whole thought process of just getting back to actually communicating with people. That's why I saw that. And if more people take the time to just talk to random people, actually talk to them, I don't know, something about
Totally.
that tells me that a social species will probably get better if people start actually talking again. So this is my way
Absolutely.
to kind of be a hero in the good fight.
and it's so necessary. We between the lockdowns and the social
Absolutely.
distancing and all this other shit, everybody realized that the human connection, and I think that's kind of funny to watch the transition period, right? Where we like, people, and then all of a sudden we're not allowed around people anymore. And all of a sudden we're like, people, like we need people, and
Yeah.
and here's this thing. And what I think this also provides, especially the way you do your show, is it's a safe space.
Yeah.
We wouldn't go even before the pandemic, right? Personally, I got to say, I wouldn't go sit down at a random table and just start a conversation with somebody and be like, hey, let's talk, but I get a request, from you, hey man, let's sit down and have a chat. And I'm like, yeah, sure, cool. It provides this, there's this safety net to do it. And it allows that spontaneous, just random human connection to kind of
Yeah.
get started. Hopefully we can transition, once all this virus stuff is done with, we can transition this into real life, and we can start having those great connections with people in person again. And
That's exactly what because it started with the thought of the small talk leads to the big talk, the small actions lead to the big actions, and now my next little part to add to that is let's start in the virtual and make it actually physical. And I I I enjoy this so much that I want this to be something that I continue to do. I don't I don't want it. It's like I don't care if not a single soul ever listens. I enjoy what this does. It's just the that connection, the learning. There's so much I've learned just from sitting down talking to someone sharing their experience with me in 30 minutes that took them maybe 6 months to learn. It's just I don't know. It excites me that this is the new form of writing letters. It's just crazy. I don't
it is. And I'm gonna go history nerd on you for a little bit.
Go ahead.
So when you go, you look back through history, primary source documents are very important, and a lot of those come in the form of letters and journals and all these other things. So historians gather that information together, and then they make an assertion based off of that. But that's that person's view, right? So So the actual picture of what really happened during like the events throughout history come from these letters and these journals. And this is our generation's journal. This is our generation's, letters to each other. And these mediums are going to exist. Some knucklehead, 100 years from now is going to come across some little SD card and be like, what the hell is this? Figure out how to get the data. And it's going to be, Pedestrian at Best podcast. And he's going to listen to this and be like, holy shit, this is awesome,
I hope so, man. I don't know. They're the best example.
But capturing the now, which is what all these podcasts are doing, is so absolutely important, because the history books will be a person's point of view. One point of view is not good enough for me. I need all of them. So let me get all of these other points of view, and this is where you go to get them.
I love the take. That's exactly what I think it is. And like I said, this is our attempt to be in the good fight. This is what we're doing now. Would you say there's a type of person that comes across podcasting? Because I don't know, it's just, is there something that all of us share when it comes to wanting to do such a thing? Or is this just, it's like a person? There's so many different versions of it, so anybody can do it, basically. No, Ian. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it comes down to the self-expression. I mean, the cool thing about podcasts, if you really do want to hone in on a topic, there's a vehicle for you to do that. It's like our friend Stressed and Depressed. Goes with the mental health thing. Dina is kind of jack of all trades. She kind of mixes up her show.
Yeah.
And like you said, everybody kind of has their how they approach it or switch it up. I think it does take somebody that needs, like we were talking about, the pandemic, needs to reach out, have some connection, have some human connection, and putting those episodes out into the world is like writing, not like writing a book, but you are putting out something. And through this podcast, you're putting a piece of yourself out there and seeing what happens. If somebody listens to it and they get value out of it, that's awesome. If they don't, it was there.
I don't think there's a personality type. I think it's
right.
I think it's because there's a story that they want to tell. There's I'm connecting back to my storyteller isms here, but they've got something they want to say.
Yeah.
And maybe they don't have a voice anywhere, and all I'm doing is piggybacking. But no, I think that it's a broad base of people that all share the wanting to say something, and maybe we don't feel we have a voice. Like, I'm not going to go sit and talk about at a history lecture with Alexis Cole, or I'm not going to tell her anything about George Washington, but I can talk about it at my level over here in this platform.
Who's Alexis Cole? I'm oblivious to Alexis Cole.
Alexis Cole is she just put out one of the newer documentaries on George Washington called "You Never Forget Your First," and she's amazing, absolutely amazing. And she breaks down George Washington back down to a human level, because history has kind of put him up on this big pedestal, and he wasn't godlike. He was a dude that made a lot of bad decisions.
Nobody was.
She does a really great job of it's an atypical biography of George Washington. So if you get the chance, it's definitely worth the read. It's amazing.
I just wrote it down so I can check it out. Actually, that brings up another topic, because one of the things that I like that happens with just podcasts in general, or at least when I go about a podcast, it's always funny because I'll talk to someone and the first thing they ask me is, what do you want to talk about? Of course there's something to talk about. Maybe you'll sit there and you'll have like, okay, if the conversation is going dull, you got 3 things written down on the paper to talk about, and you got that one crazy thing that everyone has an opinion about. For me, it's VR, virtual reality. It just everyone gets crazy about that and droids. But the other thing is when the conversation just magically goes to some deep place that you didn't have any intention of talking about, and you're just expressing yourself on it. And I really enjoy when those moments happen. Things like realizing that people are both dark and light, and it's okay, and not. It just there was one topic in one of the conversations I have a lot of the times right now, and I'm not a historian, so I don't know the complete details, but it seems like the argument on this is the whole 1619 project. That was a podcast that came out, and then there was the conversation of why is that even a thing? Because it's basically kind of moving against the pride of America and us realizing, I guess, the greatness of America. And but I hear it all and I kind of go, you gotta. It's like you do both. You do both. And it's okay to do both. If we started at both, maybe we would be better. I don't know. I don't know. Well, I say I don't know, but it's more of that's my thought on it. I believe if we start off with teaching people that, yeah, it's dark and light, it's just the flip of a coin, things will be a little bit better than trying to stuff your kid with just sugar and shit.
Yeah, here's
Yeah,
the thing.
I think, in my opinion, teaching our history, flawed as it is vital. I think they need to know that these people were products of their time. You can't take things like the Constitution and view it through the lens of that period. You have to try to, look at it from our standard. And the Constitution, they wrote these rules to aspire to, and it sucks that, they had slaves. It's horrible. It's awful. Slavery is awful.
Yeah.
But I don't know if coming from the place of teaching children that their country is inherently flawed is the best way to approach it either. I think there's a middle ground there, like you're saying, where we can own up to what we did, but look more towards the future to make things better. I mean, honestly, if they had, we probably wouldn't even have had a country had they not had slaves. That's the horrible thing to think.
Yeah. But
But
it's the
it is history.
and it's kind of like one of those things where it's like you kind of go like it's the truth. And for me, saying that as a black guy, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, ooh, you're gonna get it for saying that, but it's the truth, regardless when you think about it.
You shouldn't get it.
Hey, but you get what I mean from that. It's a thing sometimes.
Totally.
But it's as you were saying.
So one of the big things that I have is a lot of people get very emotionally wrapped up in history, right? And history itself is void of emotion. How we feel about history is different, but history itself is void of emotion. It's simply a statement of fact. There is no emotion in that. This happened here. This happened here. This happened here.
Yeah.
Where we get fucked up is, we put our own feelings into that, and I am the guiltiest person of that ever. And we put voices to the scenarios. We put and not the voices that were there at the time. We put the voices that we hear today into those scenarios, and that's where we get fucked up because it wasn't the same. Now, that doesn't justify any of the evils that happened in history, and we can go back to, I mean, if you're a Christian believer, you're going back to the Garden of Eden where Adam and Eve, they fucked it for everybody,
Yeah.
but it's a thing, and detaching ourselves emotionally from these things, um, and using them as chunks of knowledge. Man, these people sucked. I'm so glad we're not these people. We're not perfect. We
Yeah.
always strive for perfection. We got a whole lot of work to do. But are we better today than we were yesterday?
Yeah.
And sometimes the answer is no. And that's the hard part, is sometimes we look, are we better today than we were yesterday? And no, we weren't. No, we suck today. We're worse. Okay, cool. So now we got to go 2 steps back. We got to look a little bit, go back to, your entry point, or, wherever you entered the game at, and we got to come back and work our way
Yeah.
back forward.
And I know it's crazy and cliche, because this is one of those statements that they always say, you look at history so you don't repeat it. And it might be as cliche as it is, that's exactly what it is, because jumping eras, Holocaust, you should learn that and never do it again. That's basically what it's about. You take account of what happened so you can better and keep evolving as a people properly. And it it's a lot of work, but I don't know, things like this, things like podcasts, is the reason why I feel like there is hope. I don't care what anyone says, there is hope. There's always going to be that. And I know that things are going great, because look, we can do crap like this now. So and that actually brings me to what I like to play around with a lot. I like to think that better tech will help us, because everyone has their thought process of, oh, it has to be this way. If you are completely by the Bible, you're going to think something has to go this way and only this way. And I don't know. Well, my thoughts on it has become better tech. If you answer the small questions, something simple as your phone doesn't need to charge anymore because the sun powers it. I don't know. Something tells me that just that little thing will take stress off the back of the human, so they can now evolve something else in their life. So I like
Yeah.
to dabble with that thought process. Better tech will be the answer to a lot of this crap.
Yeah, more humane technology. Like what we're doing, this is like you talk about human connection. I
Yeah.
think technology that is divisive or kind of keeps people insulated, we should do less of, but more, if we're bringing people together more, or bringing us more in tune with our planet and things like that. I'm totally for that.
Yeah.
You know.
I suck at tech, so I get super nervous when I hear people talk about that. So I'm like, oh god. Like Discord was like the height of my tech. Like I was so happy.
This is
I
my
actually
first time using this platform, so
Yeah,
yeah,
same.
I'm not like hip with the stuff. Like,
Well, gents, that's why
yeah,
that's why the young crowd exists, so we can then show you
right.
guys other cool things. Because just to
Which is
talk on
awesome.
that, you could, the same way we're utilizing this to record, it's like these things make it where anybody can do the jump to video. Anybody can do the jump to
Right.
video. This is community. You can have all of your fans in one place and talk to them and hang out with them on a regular. That's why you do it. That's why you connect. So you can learn the things, and that's goodness code. This is not.
On here somewhere. I don't know what's up.
I'm working on it, but that's not yet.
Yeah, the technological gap. I think that that's out there, that we're not. They landed on the moon with half of this technology that I'm holding in my hand right now. Half of this technology. They landed on the moon. So
Yeah.
I look at stupid cat videos on this thing. I could go to Mars. You know what I mean? I can shoot an entire like feature film on
Yeah.
my phone now. And I think it's just maximizing the benefits and the use of these things that we have, the tech that we have. When we get our phone, we learn how to take a picture. We put our apps on it, and that's about it. What else crazy shit can our phone do? It can do all kinds of stuff. And it's all in the manual. And unfortunately, the manual is like 9,000 pages long.
And we just skip it.
Yeah. Yeah. How do I take a selfie? There we go. All right.
That's what matters. How can I watch a video? How can I send a picture in a video?
Where's YouTube?
Actually, what's crazy about that is there's an app called Bixby on my phone, and it always pops up, and it just basically says, I want to do work for you. I want to remind you what time it is. I want to tell you how to go to the store. And every time it comes on, I just shut it off. But this should be a moment. Whoever hears this, take the time out to pick one app on your phone and learn. Just master it. I don't care which app it is. Just master one of them. You'll be surprised what all you can do all day after your home. They load so much crap in your phone nowadays, and it's weird. I'm going on a little tangent now to just kind of like just drill it into the phone category because of how crazy that is. But there's not a topic, so there's no way to go back on topic. Anyway, someone save me.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You're totally right. Yes.
Sorry, bud.
Pick an app and explore it. Figure it out. There's probably a video or an article. I got into Anchor just by listening to some podcasts that used it, and they said it was free. So I was like, okay.
That's what got me in there. Yep.
Yeah.
I think I did at least maybe a week of research prior to. I had so many things up. I was like, so should I just build my own website and then go into it and host the RSS feed from there? Should I pay someone to do it? Should I do this? And then I started getting into it and I started going, well, it's probably just going to be me and my friends listening to it. I probably should stop giving as much of a shit about it and just do it. And ta-da, now I'm an Anchor cousin with everyone else.
And that's crazy. So we all, I have a full-time job, a massive family, and so like slivering out time to podcast, and I think that's another aspect of this whole thing that we're kind of talking about, and we could wrap that into the technology talk too. Is we all have these lives outside of the show.
Yeah.
Because as far as I know, I'm not getting paid to be a podcaster. I wouldn't frown at the idea,
no,
but
either.
I got to do some other shit to pay the bills, right? So there's all of that. Sure. Then there's the family time, but you still want to put together, something for somebody to enjoy. You don't want to just, throw out some shit and be like, yeah, whatever, But finding that time to do that and finding these tools that help you chunk that time out, that's been the biggest thing for me, is just little reminders. I apparently have an app on my phone that I can talk to, and it tells me, hey, remind me to do this, and it's like, okay, I'll remind you this. And so I'm sitting there, doing something else. It's like, hey, go do research for episode 4. It's like, oh shit, okay, yeah, and
it's funny. Anyway, like at my job, we have like a training site. And there was a class on podcasting. I actually found the guy who did the class. He does his podcast is like, it's about movies based on a true story. It's that guy. I think it is just called Based on a True Story. I took his whole class, and I found him on Twitter one day. I was like, dude, like I saw your class. It was so good. Like, it's why I started, got into this. He's like, oh, that's great, man. Like, yeah. That was the first time my podcast intersected with my full-time job successfully, I guess. I'm pretty sure if my boss heard my show, they probably would suspend me at least. I don't know.
I don't know if my job. Well, it depends. I think the part where my job will probably suspend me is when they see me posting my show, and they're like, "Aren't you supposed to be working?" Yeah, I am.
Yeah. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. Yeah.
I'm an active duty Army guy, so I've got some rules
I'll
that
take you for your service.
Thank you for your service.
that
Yeah.
kind of govern what I can and can't do, and things that I can and can't say. So there's been a couple times on the show where I really want to go into the weeds on certain things, and I gotta pump the brakes because the guy that's paying the bill says I can't talk about that stuff, and it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand that. Actually, random thing, because this happened today. There was a gentleman, in the service, and I guess I didn't say it loud enough, but I wanted to offer him a free meal. He was at Brahms, and I was like, "Yes." It's like, "Sir, sir," and I don't know if it was one of those things where he's like actively like, "Nope, I hear someone saying, 'Sir,' I'm going to ignore this. I'm going to ignore this. I don't want this happening." But does that annoy? Well, maybe that's a different opinion amongst people in the service, but does that annoy you when someone basically tries to reach out and, I guess, is that thanking you? I guess thank you for your service and either getting you a meal, just doing things because of that. How does that make you how does that make you feel? Sorry.
So this opinion is just of my own. I can't speak for anybody else.
Yeah.
Just this is just me. So there have been times where it has the thank yous have been anonymous, and those have been the most meaningful to me. There have been times where the thank yous have been very public and very almost virtue signaling ish. They're saying it because they're kind of like socially obligated to say it, and that sucks because
Yeah.
if you don't, and I'm okay if you don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't say it. If you don't mean it, don't say it, because that's just you're just wasting words, and
Yeah.
and we only got so many. So don't waste your words on something you don't mean. And so I appreciate it every single time somebody says it. I appreciate the anonymity of the thank yous, because I think the people who do it anonymously are doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that the people that come up and say it publicly aren't doing it for the right reasons. But there's, I do appreciate it, because sometimes you kind of feel looked down upon a little bit, because whatever the political climate might be at the time,
Yeah.
you're kind of a vestige for whatever's happening, and you're just gonna like, sorry, it's the job, But
Yeah.
anyway, I hope I answered your question.
No, you did. And it's crazy because for me, like, I have a family in it. So personally, there was what was that? There was an episode of it's an animated show called BoJack Horseman. And there was a scene where so my stance on I'm not in fully agreement of what BoJack said, but I get the character's point. They always make it out to be that, it's like the thing, everyone's a good guy, and that's what he was basically trying to touch on one episode. It's like, just because you're in the army doesn't mean I need to and this is controversial, so if you want to exit, Juno, you can. But and basically it's like, I'm not going to just lay down for every person I meet. I like to, like, the fact that I know you, it amplifies it even more. I'm just like, yo, you're a great dude already. The fact that you decide to give your time, on top of that, it just makes you, and that's how I've always been. It's like, I like knowing people and knowing if they decide to give their time to something outside of themselves, it just amplifies it for me. So I definitely understand you. And like you said, we're not wasting words. That's why I attempt to try to do the things that I actually want to do. Little things like posting about not wanting to do Follow Friday.
I get it, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, my thing with that is
17 tags is too much. I understand.
I try to get the people that are asking for the recommendations. I mean, even if they don't seem like a real person, it's like, I'm only going to put like 5, maybe 10 things on there. They're going to listen to 2 of these. At the very least, it's getting y'all more attention, and
Yeah.
it's a nice
And
thing
I
to do.
thank you for that.
mean,
So personally,
Yeah.
I messed up when it came to podcasting because I was supposed to be operating from another Twitter account, and I think I've told you guys I don't use Twitter. If you were connected with me on anything else, well, I'm on Facebook. That's where I'm at. I didn't start using
Yeah.
Twitter till this, and so when I got on, I started posting the podcast from my artist page or whatever I was going to make out of it. And then it just turned into, okay, this is now my podcasting page. And it's just funny. It's just funny because I'm just like, all right, well, I guess I'm a podcast page now.
Yeah, it's funny how the algorithm works. Like now, like I see nothing but podcasters on
Yeah.
the list, and now it's like hunting for like actual, new listeners, like that aren't just another podcast. Not that that's bad. but
Yeah.
trying to get out to other people to actually get, human connection and those types of things out there. It's funny you're fighting that technology because that algorithm thinks like, oh, he wants nothing but podcasts. I'm just going to give him podcast after podcast after podcast, and
That's a whole
obviously
other
that's not the
subject.
sole reason, right?
That's why I ran the Discord actually, because algorithms are just, they bother me so much. I don't like Facebook because of that reason. All Facebook is now is you're an ad, and I just like being able to just kind of chill, talk about random things, not have to be. Facebook works like this. It's this weird thing where if you want your stuff to be seen, you have to basically post a photo, post a video, type some random shit, and you have to keep that going. You have to keep that going. I don't know.
You have to become an algorithm essentially. Get one of those apps that just posts it for you all day long, and that just feels disingenuous to me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'd rather chill, play video games, hang out with my homies, talk to random people. Leave it at that. There you go.
Yes, sir.
There's a reason it's called Pedestrian at Best, because even if we suck, it's like, look, it was free. If you didn't like the episode, I don't know what else to tell you, man.
I like where your head's at. That
I love it. I love it. Yeah. There you go.
Did it cost you anything? No. So shut up.
Yeah, it's your fault you decide to listen.
I just gave you 2 hours of free time. You're welcome.
Well, gentlemen, I'm not going to hold you guys all night. I would love to, but I also have to get to the front and hang out with my lady. So I'm going to wrap it up, and we should totally do this again. This is fun. This is fun, and you guys should encourage other people to do this with. I don't know if you guys meet with random people, but you guys should just reach out to them and hang out with them. It's amazing. You should do it. I encourage you.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm
adding
down.
that on my mission to do more of that, because I really enjoyed this, and I hope we can do it again soon.
Hey, just at me. I worked on the way that I do my calendar is I kind of form it within 2 weeks, and I just kind of just randomly do it because you never know when someone's gonna have a thing. So it's just like, yeah. So just let me know, and we can meet back. Hopefully we can have another person on with us, so it can be 4 of us hanging out.
That'd be awesome.
Oh yeah. That'd be great.
Well, like, gents, I'll see you guys next time. And again, thank you for hanging out. Send me any other links that you guys need promoted along with the show, because when I do the descriptions, I like to promote any and anything that you guys want promoted, so when people can find your stuff. And
Okay.
Got it.
Cool.
Later, guys.
Take care.
Later. Thank you so
You
much.
too.